Alrighty, so the scene starts off and that boy Darwin's already being briefed on the squad's next mission by Ben over here. And this mission is a must complete, otherwise the government's coming to shut them down. They have way better things to spend their budget on. He wants a crew of talking animal super agents when you could have a whopping 5 new benches at the local park. I refuse to believe the board of directors aren't straight cavemen. There's no way this is real. So the squad's target is Leonard Sable and his company Saberling Industries. Buddy's an arms dealer and he wants straight problems 24/7, done developed a microchip to enhance military weapons, and he's already sold it to part of the Far East under the name Clusterstorm. So the squad's mission is to pull up to his crib, hack into his computer and download the Clusterstorm file to see what bro's really doing. About to expose his whole affair. Buddy's been trying to keep it secret, putting it in that file that don't work. Darwin then pulls up to Saber's crib and he's over there having a whole Diddy party. Diddy's sitting in his cell proud as hell. They done continued on his legacy without him. And Darwin over here must have taken Agent's pocket watching class, done zoomed in on Saber and started reading out his whole stats. $6,000 suit and a $50,000 watch. Yeah, rich guys just be spending money on anything. Could have found the same suit on TV for £10. But we then get introduced to the rest of the crew. We got the Mo, Speckles, Blaster, the animal that's practically a black guy, and Juarez, the Latina fine shit. Got Blaster over here geeked, dropping his pellets and everything. He ain't never seen a guinea pig this fine. And we also got Moot the Fly over here whizzing around on the field. I'm surprised no one saw him. I would have slapped the plate straight over hand trying to swat the fly. But Darwin then sneaks into the crib through a code, opens up a hole in the wall and sneaks into Saber's room while he's giving a speech to the rest of the crowd, saying that he done put these chips into household items to allow them to communicate with each other. Your fridge will be able to peep that you have no more eggs and tell your calendar to put it into your shopping list. Ghanaians about to be happy as hell, you know we can't go a day without eggs. Darwin then pulls up to Saber's room, hacks into his computer, and Blaster over here is trying to make her move on Juarez. But she done denied him, saying that she has her eyes on Darwin cause he doesn't like her, making him more attractive for some reason. These females be having me confused, they just be making the rules in their head. Once heard a girl say he has to make minimum 500k.
Ma'am, you work at McDonald's.
I don't know what's going on here. He's lost the plot. He's completely lost the plot. But turns out Darwin was listening to the comms the whole time, over here talking about some she want me. But Darwin then finds a Clusterstorm file, clicks on it, and at the same time this is happening, Saber done finished his speech. He's heading her back to his room, and Speckles tells Darwin that he has about 50 seconds to save the file and get out of there. So Darwin opens up the Clusterstorm file and peeps that Saber's been capping to everyone downstairs. This ain't about no communication, this is about global extermination. He's trying to wipe everyone off the planet except for Megan Fox, Jessica Alba and Ice Spice. I know what kind of man you are. And the squad only has 47 hours to stop this before it activates. Darwin goes to download the file but an encryption pops up, so Speckles starts to cipher it while Mooch delays Saber, flying up his nose and flying back out. Got Buddy over here tweaking, even knocked over a waitress. Speckles then finishes ciphering. Darwin starts to download the file but Saber gon' pull up in the room, so Darwin has to switch the wireless download, jumping off the table and hiding in the fireplace. Juarez tells him to get out there, but he's practically playing Watch Dogs 2. He has to stay inside the proximity to download the file. The file has 80%, Blaster drops the line and Saber over here is feeling a bit chilly, turning on the fireplace. But Darwin runs, grabs the line and just about makes it out on time with his butt on fire. So now that the file's complete, the squad parachute off the building, see the Speckles from a dog trying to turn him into a 9-star meal, and Ben picks them up pretending to be an exterminator and the squad escape. So they pull up to their base. The next day comes and they're waiting for the feds to pull up to show them what they got. And Darwin gon' pull up to Juarez's room trying to see what she was talking about yesterday, asking if she's really interested or not. And she gon' confuse him even more, saying that she only said that to make Blaster more interested in her. And even though she's interested in Darwin, she's not interested in him cause she knows that he knows he could have her any time, making her less interested in him.
What more do you want from me?
So the feds pull up, Ben starts to give them a tour of the place, and for some reason they seem unimpressed, acting like seeing a guinea pig playing a racing game better than most humans is a regular occurrence. They over here trying to act nonchalant. I just know they're geeked on the inside. Buddy, it's okay to express your feelings. Guys go corporate, slap on a quarter zip and become the most serious guys. Buddy, relax. So since they seem so unimpressed, Ben decides to show him his trump card, told Darwin and the rest of the crew to speak to them. Got Buddy over here in complete shock, thinking he's the next Dr. Doolittle. They even go to show him the information they got about Clusterstorm last night. Speckles opens up the file just to see that all they got is a coffee machine. Got Darwin over here yapping, trying to defend himself, saying there was hella information on there about Clusterstorm. And now the feds are back to unimpressed, telling Ben to step outside. They about to jump him in the car park, come back inside and jump the guinea pigs. Moot then follows them outside, allowing the G-Force to see and hear what they're saying on their 50-inch TV in 4K. And the feds are over here saying they're shutting down this whole operation. This was their last chance. Don told Ben, I'm sorry, but you're bum. And after hearing this, the squad ain't going for it, taking off their gear, jumping in their tubes and blasting off while Marcy distracts the guards. He come out the tube, but the guards are over here acting like they're bouncers at the club, got the whole place on straight lockdown. So the squad decide to hide into a cage and get taken away by a random truck. They about to get taken to a KSI concert that made the worst decision of their lives. One of the agents then calls Buddy from the Transformers, telling him that the rodents done escaped. So Buddy decides to turn them into pirates, don't put a whole bounty on them, saying that he wants them dead or alive, reward is 100 million berries. But we then cut back to the squad and turns out that truck was going to a pet store. They done got put in a whole cage and went from a completely teched out facility to a cage in a litter. This is just sad to see. But the squad knows how to keep calm and collected. They immediately start planning their way out of here, trying to ask this cute little hamster if there's an escape route. Turns out Buddy is not cute at all. He's a complete tweaker. Don told them, don't cross this line. But they all start to hear some rumbling, and out from the giant pile of litter, a fart comes out of nowhere. Don completely murked one of the other animals in the cage. Buddy has an absolute weapon on his butt. Big Boy and Darwin are going band for band right now on who can do the most out of pocket thing. And I ain't gonna lie, right now I got Darwin in 7. This bag is just way too deep. So Big Boy over here, his name is Hurley, and he starts telling the squad to ignore Bucky. Buddy was raised in the psych ward at UCLA. He's tapped, he's nuts, he's bonkers, he's crazy. Mooch then pulls up and Darwin tells him to go and find Ben and report the location to him. Had Hurley over here confused, Buddy speaking to a fly. And Mooch gon' fly you off, possibly taking the most dangerous route there is. Flying past the chameleon and into the Venus flytrap cage, both built to eat him. Literally has flytrap in his name. What was Buddy thinking? Almost got turned into good eats like 4 times. He just lives for the adrenaline. Red Bull needs to sign him. They about to have him on the front cover of the next post. I don't even know if that company's still about to drink. So Mooch flies away and the squad only has 30 hours left until Cluster Storm takes place, and they're over here desperate inside this cage to get out, just trying anything at this point. Don got Hurley to fart on a flaming rock, creating a flamethrower. I know Black Boy Max can do the same thing just by blowing his body odor. A family then pulls up inside the store and the squad decide to each get adopted, escape and rendezvous back at Ben's house. The little girl picks Juarez and the boy picks Hurley. Just for when the owner turns around, he puts Hurley into his lacrosse stick and throws him across the whole room into the snake enclosure. Can't even tell he's a YN or not. Thought Buddy was an innocent kid, he's just a straight menace. But that boy Hurley got lucky. Snake enclosure was the one next over. Craig over here was about to turn bro into a quick snack. The kid then picks up Blaster and takes him instead, leaving Darwin and Speckles by themselves. So now that it's just them two, Speckles decides to come up with a plan of his own, playing dead. Apparently one of the mice died last week and they were buried out back, so if the same thing happens to him, he can tunnel out to Ben and come back to save Darwin. The owners then peep Speckles, put him in a trash bag, but like making plans to talk to find shit, this just did not go the way it was supposed to. Cause instead of burying him out back, they decide to throw him in the garbage truck. That boy Speckles done got completely crushed. I could have sworn this was a children's movie. That was a bit dark. Surely you can't go on like this. It can. But Darwin over here in distraught, he done lost his whole crew in the space of about 5 minutes. But we then cut back to Ben, and after being released by the feds, he pulls back up to his base and puts a chest down on the floor. And a cockroach comes out of it with a camera on his back. That boy Ben done saw what they did with Maxwell the cat, so he could replicate it, but in 1,000 times more disgusting way. The roach enters the base, calls up his whole squad, and they just start terrorizing the 2 security guards. They ain't even doing their jobs properly, they over here eating takeaway. This had to be the same security Jack Doherty had, talking about some. Where is yours? But during all this commotion, the main roach goes to grab the PDF that's meant to have the cluster storm file on it, puts it on his back and brings it back to Ben as they drive off. We then cut back to Darwin and Hurley peeps that he has a birthmark on the back of his bum, the same one that Hurley has. Got him over here thinking he done found his long lost brother, over here jumping for joy just for Darwin to tell him to calm down G. He's a genetically altered guinea pig, there's no way he's related to a bum like Hurley. Darwin then pulls up on Bucky, crossing the line, and they pick up his house just to see that Buddy's been snacking away, got a bunch of balls in his mouth. Pause, bro. Oh my gosh, I gotta edit that out, man. But turns out Bucky's been sneaking out every night to grab food. There's a whole trapdoor underneath his house, meaning that he could have helped the squad escape at any time. Bro done decided to let Blaster and Juarez get taken and Speckles get crushed in a garbage truck. Got Darwin over here tweaking, he's about to give Buddy a knuckle sandwich. But since he's such a good guy, he just decides to let him go, jumping down to go find his crew. And as Hurley's watching him leave, there, Bucky decides to push him down the hole, landing on his back, giving him the Spider-Man treatment. And Bucky's over here saying that he now has the cage all to himself. He's no longer forced to go in a two-man every time he brings baddies over. That boy Hurley be selling. So Hurley then pulls up on Darwin, all scared. He don't realize he is not built for the outside world. Bro came out the shop thinking he's about to be the next mafia boss, saw a cat and quickly realized there's levels to this. I got the same feeling after seeing a 13-year-old hitting a 360 windmill dunk. Immediately got in the lab, cause boy ain't no way boy. So Darwin decides to take Hurley along, saying that he'll drop him off at the next pet store. And we then see Saber talking to someone called Mr. Yanshu on the phone. Whoever's on the other line done put on a voice changer to make their voice deeper. I know certain guys do the same thing on the phone to their girls, especially in the morning, trying to act like this is their morning voice. Gang, that's not your real voice, you sound like SpongeBob. But Mr. Yanshu's over here saying that cluster storm's about to take place in 19 hours. Got Saber over here a bit skeptical, asking why they're spending so much money to track a bunch of debris in space. That boy Yanshu had to come up with an excuse real quick, saying that it's for communication. We then cut back to Ben and Moot pulls up on him, telling him where the squad is, but the feds done already found it first. And they start interrogating the owners on where the animals went. Got the owners over here thinking this is a joke. Buddy's wearing lift up glasses, no one's taking you serious. A couple hours then go by, Ben and Marcy pull up to the shop looking for the squad, but the owner tells them he already told the feds where they're at. And Marcy peeps Bucky inside his cage, happy as hell, acting like he's someone with 12 siblings after moving out for the first time. He's finally got his own room. But we then finally see Blaster again after he got took from the pet store. And the kid that took him has him in a toy car zooming around his room, crashing into a tower of blocks and hitting a ramp over a bunch of other cars. Even got a bunch of cameras taking flex of him. Got bro feeling like the star of the show. But the kid's mom then calls him downstairs and Blaster takes his opportunity to take the remote, drive downstairs and outside. Got the kids over here trying to catch him as he's driving in circles around them. Juarez then kicks down the castle door and we see her in a whole princess costume. She lets Blaster know where she's at, jumps on the trampoline, grabs a hold of the line, causing a blanket to fall on the little girl, ties the line to the car and they spin back, hitting Buddy over here with what they did to the Walker in Star Wars. And they drive off with Juarez taking off all her princess clothes. Darwin and Hurley then pull up to a cake shop and Hurley is absolutely geeked, over here salivating and fantasizing about them. But Darwin peeps a Saber coffee machine that was in the cluster storm file earlier and immediately goes to check it out. He opens up the coffee machine and just starts pulling a bunch of random stuff out, just committing a bunch of vandalism. And Hurley over here is acting like a mascot for the people outside. And Buddy with the skateboards acting like a guinea pig waving at you is a normal thing. Done waved back like he done seen his power from across the road. Darwin then peeps a microchip inside the coffee machine, pulls it out and says he needs to take this back to Ben. He tries to unplug it but the coffee machine starts to activate, shooting a bunch of coffee beans at him. And then switches to a whole shuriken, almost took off both of their heads, breaking the glass. Turns out that microchip is like the Allspark from Transformers, done turn the coffee machine into a killer machine. The machine then comes out the building. Darwin says they're gonna fire, but Hurley's over here talking about some I'm not gonna do nothing, immediately hitting the dash. But the machine done switch targets, coming off the Hurley as he's trying to hide. Issues a bunch of energy blasts at him, destroying the table. Darwin jumps on his back, covering his view, but gets flinged up immediately. Buddy really thought that was about to work, so he comes up with a different plan, running into the road, causing the machine to follow him and get crushed by a car. And Hurley go come out of nowhere talking about some we did it. Gang, you put no effort into this fight. Guys be doing the same thing during school projects, turn up on the last day asking how much we got done.
Buddy, where were you?
Darwin then says they need to take this back to Ben, using the skateboard that Buddy left, running away like he saw a killer clown back in 2016. Them boys were low-key running the streets back then. African moms wouldn't let anyone out the crib after seeing a news article of them in the area. So they pull up to Ben's crib to see that Blaster and Juarez are already there. But Ben starts to ask where Speckles is at, so Darwin has to break the news to him that he got crushed. Like guys' hearts after finding out the bot clue about their crush. You over here thinking she's a sweet girl. Nope. Turns out you're saved as free meal in her phone. I'm sorry. And after hearing this news, Ben thinks it's all his fault, so he decides to tell the squad the truth. None of them are actually genetically altered at all, they're not special in the slightest. They found Juarez before she could get turned into good eats. Blaster as he was being experimented on by a cosmetic company. Speckles they found on the floor after his home was being turned into a new golf course. And Darwin they found at a pet store. His parents done abandoned him cause he was the runt of the litter. That boy Darwin had to go take a seat, he was in straight disbelief of what he was just told. But Hurley starts to give him that Captain Irwin speech that motivated him like crazy. So now that Darwin's okay again, he pulls up on the rest of the squad and just copies what Hurley said, word for word, bar for bar, saying that even though they're not genetically altered, they still have their training and they can do stuff people can only dream of. Got the whole squad feeling like they got Optimus Prime in front of them. Bro gave an amazing speech. So now that they're back in business, Darwin shows Ben the robot, saying that the chip made it come to life, meaning a global extermination is about to come from these robots. Cause if all the Saber machines around the world have this chip in it, they all about to turn into killing machines, murking everyone. But Ben says he couldn't even access the cluster storm file. Saber must have put a virus on it or something to protect it. And Hurley gon' come out with nowhere saying that if the file has a virus on it, how about they use that to destroy the whole cluster storm? But he's been a genius this whole time. He's been pretending to be an idiot. But hold on, I know this type of play, pretending to be dumb, so when you show your true smarts it's more surprising. I'll be doing the same thing with haircuts, go about 3 months without a trim, just to pull up with a trim out of nowhere to make it stand out more. Guys don't know about this play, this is for the elites. So now that the mission is set to put the infected PDA into the main network called Saber's crib, Ben decides to show them some new gear and a new ride he's been working on. But as they're checking out their new V, the feds gon' pull up, banging on the door, telling them to open up. They've been playing cat and mouse this whole movie, I just know these two are tired. And after hearing the feds at the door, the squad, including Hurley, jump in their new whip, smashing through the window, driving off. And the feds immediately hop back in their car, chasing after them. This is straight friendly fire, they're on the same side. I have no idea why they're still chasing them. Over here acting like they done pulled a scar out of her chest in OG Fortnite. To be fair, it was that deep. Juarez then hits the GPS to Saber's crib, and Hurley over here done hit a nervous fart, turned the whole ball into a gas chamber. I just know Darwin's suffering right now. The feds back up then pulls up and they surround the squad, closing in, so the squad decides to separate, each going their own split ways. Blaster loses his guy going underneath a trailer. Darwin stops mid-chase going underneath Buddy's car and just starts cutting up his whole tire, popping it. He then hits the ramp and for some reason Buddy decides to follow along. This has to be top 5 dumbest decisions I've ever seen. What did Buddy expect? For he was about to clear 20 cars going 15 miles an hour. You idiot. Honestly an idiot. Blaster and Darwin then pull back up on Juarez as she's still being chased. They drive into a fair and Buddy over here is just driving like a madman. Cycling Mikey's lucky he ain't bumped into Buddy earlier. He would have been cooked a long time ago. He has no regard for human life, almost crashing into a bunch of people working the fireworks. Luckily they jumped out the way and he hits the fireworks instead, causing them all to go off. That made this chase scene beautiful, but one of the fireworks hits the car, causing it to tip over, allowing the squad to get away, hitting the ramp through the American flag. The people under them just started smiling and clapping, thinking this is part of the show. The crowd at the Oscars did the same thing after Will Smith smacked the hell out of Chris Rock. So the squad pull up to Saber's crib, enter event, everyone jumps down, but before Darwin goes, he tells Hurley to stay here and keep guard. The Uncaptor bro told him it's one of the most important parts of the mission before jumping down. This is like giving your younger brother a turned off controller, saying that he's playing. But this method might be patched, these kids are evolving, they be finding out way quicker. The squad then find the network core, get past the booby trap and put up to the panel to access it. But Hurley over here starts to smell some food and decides to leave his spot to check out what it is. And to make matters worse, the countdown to cluster storm done finished and Saber presses the button activating it. The microwave in the room that Hurley is in instantly becomes self-aware, opening itself up, showing its cake.
What do you mean by that?
Hurley goes to grab the cake, but the door gon' close on him, trapping him in there. And the rest of the Saber appliances around the world also gain consciousness, terrorizing a bunch of people. They even come together, joining as one, creating a massive monster. Got Saber over here confused, they were just supposed to communicate with each other. This is not part of the plan. Buddy got scammed by whoever Mr. Yashu is. The feds are even coming to arrest bro, yeah he's cooked. The microwave with Hurley in it then pulls up on the squad and is going through the options looking for one to cook Hurley with. Issues a Blaster at them, they weave again, and Blaster uses his grappler to hold onto the robot before it touches the tripwire. It's about to end them all, while Darwin climbs up, jumps onto the top of the robot and frees Hurley. Buddy's still worried about the cake. put it down. But the grappler then breaks and the robot hits the tripwire, causing the explosion to go off. Darwin jumps off the robot and falls straight into a vent, getting trapped as the others hide. The rubble then clears, the squad pulls up on Darwin and he says he's gonna do the rest by himself. There's no time to wait for them. But before he leaves, he makes sure Hurley knows how disappointed he is. Done told, bro, you fat, you ugly, and you stink, monkey. So Darwin then leaves the squad and pulls up to a room to see someone working on a computer. The person turns around and it was Speckles. He was Mr. Yanshu the whole time. That boy Darwin was happy to see Speckles, saying that he already infiltrated the enemy base. Where's the bad guy? Just for Speckles to say that he is the bad guy went from smiles to frowns real quick. Got Darwin over here distraught, talking about some you are a Judas. But Speckles over here decides to explain his whole master plan, saying that he done tricked Saber and created a whole army of appliances to take over the world. And each appliance has a magnetic node in them capable of pulling down debris from space. He's about to pull all of it down, exterminate all the humans on the earth. Turns out back in the day, humans done exterminated his whole family. But before his father died, he done hit him with the Gran Torino, told him if he ever gets a chance to slime out the humans, he better do with no hesitation. Speckles then hits a button and starts to fly up using a bunch of rockets, and Darwin gets a hold of one of the wires going up with him, and so does the rest of the squad. Hurley was trying to eat his cake in peace but taken up by force, and Speckles gonna pop out from under the ground with a massive robot, started murking soldiers immediately. I just know these soldiers are mad as hell, they did not sign up for this. Got told they're going up against a mole, thought this was about to be an easy lick. Speckles then starts to cool down the debris from space, done gave them a preview of what's about to happen to the whole world. Darwin then reaches the top, but Speckles goes send out a mini transformer to take care of him, smacking off his parachute and kicking him off the platform, causing him to drop the PDA and just about catch himself. Blaster then throws Juarez to go get it, but she gon' miss by an inch, so Mooch goes down to get it himself, but the wire holding up Darwin then breaks, causing him to go plummeting down. Hurley peeps this and decides to sacrifice his cake, grabbing the wire and catching Darwin. This is a big sacrifice. We got Hurley giving up cake before women taking accountability. This is crazy. He then wraps the wire around himself and says that Darwin needs to get up there as soon as possible, jumping down, sending Darwin flying off. He lands, goes back to check on Hurley, and he's over here falling like Gwen Stacy. So Blaster jumps down to go catch him, and Speckles gonna pick up the truck with Ben and Marcy in it, lifting it all the way up. I have no idea why they decided to park the truck 5 feet away from the robot. It's a whole like 100 feet, you could have watched from across the field at least. But Darwin gonna turn around and start hitting bro with that choke no jutsu. His level in this stat is insane, body's almost hitting that Naruto range. And that boy Speckles had no defensive move to block this choke no jutsu. It was 100% effective with a critical hit, had him contemplating his own actions, trying to stop the cluster storm, but it's too late, access denied. But that boy Mooch has Hall of Fame clutch factor, pull back up the PDA at the right time. Darwin weaves the transformer, grabs it and puts it inside the network core. The virus uploads into the system and the whole cluster storm is cooked, but including the robot they're on. They jump off the robot and Juarez gonna come out of nowhere catching them. I'm over here thinking she done grew wings and learned how to fly. Whole time it's a parachute. They then land at Hurley while Blaster's holding up a piece of metal, stopping it from crushing his body. Darwin starts to pull him out and Blaster go and drop the whole thing on his head. Oh wait, nah, he's out. I don't know why they showed it from this angle. On my rewatch, I thought Blaster done murked Hurley right here. Hurley then drops his cake that he caught on the way down, and Speckles gonna pull up out of nowhere, saying that this is all his fault, like we don't already know this. But Darwin then starts getting all sentimental, saying he'll be proud to call Hurley his brother. But he then hovers the cake around his nose and Hurley gon' wake up immediately. Just the smell of the cake alone done revived him. This is insane work. He then gets up all happy, hugging Darwin cause he called him his brother, and he gon' eat the cake anyways. Cake done been through a whole war and he gon' eat it anyways. That brother must be starving. Pets low-key be doing the same thing. They start rushing to the food like they're starving. They haven't eaten for a whole 2 minutes. But from here we then fast forward to like a week later. Hurley's now part of the squad going through training. Blaster's still confused on which one Juarez likes. They done brought in the tweaker and the mice, and Speckles has to take out the cluster stove chip from each appliance one by one. He's about to be there for the next 20 years. And the squad get medals to officially become special agents. They even gave Hurley one as well. But he done fast tracked the whole process, did one mission and became a special agent. I waited for 3.5 years. White man did it in 1 week. But this is now the end of the movie, and I ain't even go sit here and cap. This movie was cheeks. I was rewatching this and by the end I was thinking this was much better when I was a kid. It's a children's movie, so I'ma let it slide, but damn, this was low-key ass. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed the vid though. All glory to God, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.